Hi, everyone. This is Karen, and I'm back. I don't know if the lighting looks okay because my webcam is kind of having some problems. I have a dysfunctional webcam, but I've been through a lot. My son died. Um, my only child, his name is Zahwa. I've got the necklace on here. And you might have noticed that my YouTube videos rather, started to get kind of my face started to look kind of swollen, and you hear that my voice changed a little bit, and you could see that I was under some stress. I was under a lot of stress. And right when I really thought we were going to turn the corner, my son died um, on Tuesday, October the 29th of 2019. So today's January the 29th, and that was exactly 3 months ago. My son's name is Zahwa Pringle. His legal name is Zahwa Pringle Dawes. And I raised him 100% on my own. When he was 21, he went over and was doing some skiing and snowboarding at a local little ski hill called Spirit Mountain in Duluth, Minnesota. And he took a fall in the terrain park and hit a metal rail on his clavicle and on the right side and broke his clavicle. And you could see where it was almost perforating through the skin. And so, gosh, I know this isn't really good news, but I want to share why I've been away. And that's my dog snoring. That's fire. And I want to, what does it say? Welcome. I think I made everything official with saying this is not a child content. But man, I was feeling really, really, really down. And I can't say that I'm just completely turned the corner. But my usual extremely youthful, very well, full of energy and pep, and always happy and not feeling depressed or anxious. And, all the things I've learned in life that I help my clients with really, really came in handy when you lose your child. Zahwa is my only connected, meaning the only one that is biologically blood connected family to me. He's my only child, and we were extremely, extremely close. Having raised him by myself, 100%, no grandparents, no aunts and uncles. We left California when I was just turning 42, and he was turning 7. He was 6, almost 7. And I took a leap of faith that we could move somewhere else where I could kind of be a little bit more of a mama and have more hands-on and do some nesting. So what really happened? Because a lot of people want to know, and I want you to know, because my third book is going to be detailing some of this stuff because I want it to help other people. When he went skiing and he fell and he broke his clavicle, he went and he met with a doctor, Dr. Mark Gregerson out of Moose Lake, Minnesota. And he met him over in Cloquet, where he used to also practice. He does not now. And he suggested that he put a plate in there with 6 metal screws. And of course, my background as a shaman and a medicine woman was, no, 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 no. We don't do that. We don't want to do that. That's not a good idea. And of course, at the time, my son was only 21. When you're young, the younger people don't really always understand that it's not the best idea to put foreign objects into the body unless you absolutely have to. The body's always going to do its thing to try to reject it. And so the body's going to work extra hard to reject it, right? And so, he got pain medication, which, as I teach, medication is typically drugs. And I did not know he received, opiates. And he was in this room. This used to be his bedroom where I'm at right now. And jar after jar after jar after jar came home. And I started questioning, hey, what's going on with those? And I did not know the severity of the addiction with opioids that I'm aware of today. My son became completely addicted. And then, of course, out of guilt and shame, nobody wants to feel like they're a drug addict. he hid it. And when the prescription was just cut and there was no remediation or treatment or, hey, you're going to need help with this, don't you feel bad about it? And I had a talk with Dr. Gregerson's office yesterday. Then you're left out there by yourself to be a 21-year-old male and try to figure things out. And as multiply intelligent as my son is, meaning that he's got a lot of skills in his repertoire, like I'm sure you do, right? But I raised him and I planted a lot of seeds in there. He hid it from me. And so I was knocking at the door and knocking at the window and, hey, what's going on? Things don't feel right. My son had what you would just kind of overtly call a paradoxical experience on opioids. So now that he's getting them from the street, right? So I'm over there many times a week, and eventually it became every day, and saying prayers, please, please, please help him to turn around in front of his house, sitting out there in the dark in the snow because they don't want to invite you in. And just wondering what it is and going to the emergency room because he was trying to withdraw on his own and having diarrhea and vomiting and horrible things. Now, this isn't just happening to 1 or 20 or 100 or 1,000 people. We now have 400,000 deaths that are attributed to opioids. We are now losing more people than we would in one of the wars that we have had. And the Sackler family is behind this. They introduced and they came over from Poland to create this psychiatric pharmaceutical issue that we have today. Excuse me. What I want you to know with me as far as a channel is that I'm really broken up. I'm crushed and I'm hurt. At the core of me, I never cared about being, someone who had to have, a big Range Rover and bleach her teeth and do all these things and have fancy clothes and lots of jewelry. I really cared about being a mom and a grandmother. I cared about being a shaman and a medicine woman, which means that a lot of the old ancient ways are important to me. I really honestly believe that if we create a world family, through images, imagination, through change of habits, through strengthening our people, that we can really get somewhere. When drugs like fentanyl, and there are 14 variations of fentanyl, are pushed out onto the field where the people are, and the people are full of anxiety and depression and fatigue and insomnia, thyroid imbalances and adrenal imbalances, glandular deficiencies and glandular excesses because they've been deficient for so long. It's the reason I wrote my book, Detox and Heal Your Thyroid, because none of this is rocket science. None of this entails having to put people in big magnet, fancy scanning machines. It really is about us changing our habits, okay? So my son is gone. I found him on his floor Tuesday, a little after 2:30 in the afternoon when I went over to his house, which I was doing on a daily basis. He'd been in the Howard Freese sober home from August the 6th until September the 24th. He'd moved into his own place by UMD on Carver Avenue, Carver Street, right close to UMD, the University of Minnesota Duluth, and with some other young men. And he had been robbed the Friday night before. So when I saw him Monday night about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I came back home a half an hour away to my home where he's always lived, and he wanted to kind of be out on his own this time, I felt my heart racing, and I thought something is really wrong, but I've been there twice today. I probably should just try to cool it. I mean, it's been a heck of a lot of running there and back for the last 2.5 years. So the reason why there's been a lot of inconsistencies and why my face and the swelling that's in my throat to my lungs, which is rehabilitating and regenerating, is occurring, is because of this just terrible thing that's happened, which is losing my son. He didn't want to die. He loved his life. He really, really loved life. And he loved, so much about, going out and having nice food and being out in nature. He loves his mama. And he was looking forward to having a really nice life with school and Airbnb and skiing and friends. And so anyway, that's why I've been gone. I'm going to talk and I'm going to help you. I'm going to legitimately help you because I have the truth. I'd like you to also take a moment and go over to Quora, which is QUORA.com. Just take a moment and go to Quora.com and hit follow me at Karen Pringle. And you'll see that I have almost 3,600 answers at the time I'm doing this video. If you'll support me, I didn't take the cheap, I didn't take the dishonest, the lack of integrity way and pay for book reviews and try to get instant celebrity status like you can do with Hay House and some of the other publishing houses. I'm doing it the honest way. I'm 58. I've raised my child. I've been licensed and insured here in Northeast Minnesota City for 17 years, February the 1st. And I'm going to celebrate that. I'm going to celebrate life. I'm going to celebrate my son. I put on 2 celebrations of the ancestors for him because I wanted him to be able to look down, because even when we think of our loved ones being dead, there still is a consciousness, right? I mean, how many of you said, someone that I love so much, my child, my mother, my sister, my partner, my husband, my wife, came back and just kind of touched me or gave me a kiss or whispered in my ear, made magical things happen. Well, my son has been doing that for me. He knows that I'm here alone without him, and he knows how much I miss him. He knows I couldn't even get my face on here for 3 months. Today is 3 months because I would have just burst out into tears. I've cried so much, my eyes are almost raw. And at night I would throw up I would lay here and think, oh my God, I'm potentially going to die here in the house, by myself with the dogs, throwing up and choking because the pain is so severe for a mom to lose their child. It's the worst possible pain you could ever imagine, is to lose your child. And I don't wish it on anyone. I needed time to just step off of YouTube, step off of Facebook, to not go to my business for a little while. And I didn't have a whole lot of that time in terms of not going to my business because, house payments have to be made and people were counting on my help. And so, it was several weeks, 5-6 weeks, that with getting funerals and food and flowers and people stopping by, and because I know a lot of people, if you're fixing backs and necks and shoulders and reversing disease and giving people, ancestral insights, I mean, people care about you and sometimes more than you think. And I really honestly could not have done this without you. And I want to thank you because when my son died, I was in a very, very, very precarious situation, panicking to the point that I wondered if I wanted to continue to live. And it's not something I've ever thought about before. I've always loved life. And I so much looked forward to being a grandmother. I so much look forward to having all my books out there because in my heart and in my integrity, I know that you're supposed to be writing your medicine when you're done and you've actually worked this with people and you've seen what has worked, okay? So please send love, blessings, prayer, energy, warm hugs, whatever you call special love in your vocabulary to my son Zahwa as he is transitioning. And he was only 24 in August, on August the 22nd. So I can't tell you the number of times I go outside and I check the temperature in Duluth before I go and it's 22 degrees. Or it's completely gray and I go over the horizon, and all of a sudden the sun just beams. Oh, for the first several weeks after he died, the sun just was unusually bright, and the birds were out. And it can be sometimes the most depressing time of year, but imagine now your child has died. So, it's not an easy thing. So I'll be back. Thank you for being patient, and thank you for understanding that I've lost my child. And his picture is on the thumbnail here. So that is a picture that we took in September. And he's Leo the lion. He was born in August on the 22nd. And I love him so much, and I miss him so much. And thank you for joining me. All right. Please be well.